A lot of you have wanted this one. August the 4th, 2012. Greg Rutherford, Mo Farah, Jess Ennis. The Olympics was in our backyard and our athletics team were killing it. Golds galore, and the commercials for the business off the track were booming. Fast forward 10 years and things are completely different. Not so dominant on the track and the business is falling apart. But how did we get here? And if UK athletics is bankrupt, then where does the sport go tomorrow? I'm Jordan, and today I'm going to break down the demise of UK athletics. Like most things in life, it starts at the top. And when you see a timeline of the leadership of UK athletics, you're going to start to see how much it resembles a bit of a soap opera. Let's go back to 2007. Niels de Vos became the CEO of UK athletics, and he appointed Ed Warner as his chairman. Together, they stayed as chair and CEO for 10 years, and in that time, everything was great. Healthy talent, brilliant business, London 2012, everything was on the right track. They both left in 2017, and you could say this is where the problem started to begin. Nigel Hull took over in September 2017, becoming the interim CEO. He stayed for a year before he left. Then, strangely, UK athletics went without a recognised CEO for around 18 months. The beginning of 2020, Nick Coward became another interim CEO. Shortly after, Jo Coates took over. We'll get back to her in a second. Maybe her tenure was a little bit cursed. She started just before COVID and lasted around 2 years before Jack Buckner became CEO of UK Athletics in 2022. He has still remained in seat and is the current CEO. So as you can see, 5 CEOs in 5 years. There's been a lot of change very quickly, and that has brought some problems. Take a look at this graph. This graph shows the cash reserves of UK Athletics going back 18 years. This is the Niels de Vos and Ed Warner era. This is the era since they left. Paints a pretty bleak picture, doesn't it? It's interesting because UK athletics is commonly used as a catch-all term by most people to describe athletics in the UK. But UK athletics is a business. It's a private company, it has loads of employees, and it's the governing body of the sport in this country. In fact, there's a mission statement. The mission statement is to inspire more athletes and runners of all ages and abilities to fulfill their potential and have a lifelong love of the sport. That's cute, but if the business is on the verge of collapse, then who is going to govern athletics in the United Kingdom going forward? Thankfully, there's 3 main ways in which UK athletics make money. I write a newsletter sent every Monday to your email inbox at 11 a.m. UK time. If you want an article about the business of sport sent to you every week, join the hundreds of people who have done it already. Click the link in the description below. Now, how does the governing body make money? The 3 main ways in which they make money are as follows: hosting events, broadcast revenue, and sponsorships. Following London 2012, business was at an all-time high. Events were sold out, TV coverage was absolutely fine, and sponsorship revenue was great. Lately though, it's completely reversed. Take a look at this shot of a Diamond League event in the London Stadium last year. Packed house, sellout crowd, and some of the world's best athletes participating in their chosen sport. This event lost £500,000 for UK athletics. Yes, lost 500 grand, even though it was packed and some of the world's best were in our city. How does that happen? Rewind 2 years and the Diamond League event in the UK had to be moved to Birmingham so they could use the already constructed Commonwealth Games Stadium. Smaller capacity, lower cost. 2 years before, the 2019 Diamond League event had to be moved to Gateshead because the cost of turning the London Stadium, which is now home to West Ham Football Club, into a one-off athletics event cost too much money. So again, moved to a smaller venue already in place. The events have required to be moved to smaller capacity stadiums just because they cost too much to host. Similarly, UK Sport, another governing body in the UK, has had to bail out the UK Athletics, helping them with the commercials of hosting the events. It's wild. The annoying thing is, the BBC dropped a hammer blow. For as long as I can remember, athletics in the UK has been on the BBC. The production crew is legendary. Gabby Logan, Claire Balding, the amazing Jeanette Kwachi, Colin Jackson, Michael Johnson, Denise Lewis. I grew up with that crew. However, a report in 2020 suggested that the BBC were going to walk away from their deal with UK Athletics. The UK Athletics have had a deal in place from 2014 for 6 years. They pay £3 million a year for the rights to show athletics events in the UK. They also pay around £500,000 a year for the production costs. Simply put, towards the end of the deal, they didn't think that that was representing value for money. There wasn't many other broadcasters rushing to take over from the BBC either. Ed Warner, remember him? He was the chairman in the Niels de Vos era. He writes a really interesting newsletter called Sport Inc. on his Substack, and one of his articles last year was fascinating. He said the following: Niels de Vos made clear on his departure that one of the first things that the new leadership should do would be to negotiate the early renewal of the broadcast deal with the BBC. That didn't happen. In fact, the BBC negotiated a deal where they just had to pay the production costs to show the athletics meets in the UK. not the 3 million on top. Then they organized a separate deal with Diamond League themselves to show the Diamond League events when they happen. This then became a massive problem for our sponsors. Again, growing up in the UK, there's been two main sponsors that I've associated with UK athletics. The first is Muller. Muller have been a sponsor for many years, and after a decent performance at any kind of world level games, one of the marquee athletes tends to always get a commercial with Muller, like this. Muller ended their partnership with UK Athletics in 2022. There hasn't been a replacement since. Secondly, Nike have had a relationship with UK Athletics since I was a child. Check this. They had a deal with UK Athletics until 2030. UK Athletics went to Nike, asked them to extend the deal to 2040. However, what they asked for was an upfront payment from Nike to help them stay afloat. Yes, they wanted to extend the deal by 10 years and asked for a prepayment from 2030 to 2040 in 2023 just to help steady the ship. Think about it. If you're Nike and UK Athletics come to you asking for this premature extension, and you can see leadership is all over the place, events are being held at smaller capacities, there's no consistent broadcaster, you're probably going to negotiate a cut price deal. You can also start to see why Muller walked away too. It's sad. There's a lot in here, and the current CEO, Jack Buckner, has a lot on his plate. And that's just on the financial side. Research by Leeds Beckett University found that there are significant cultural and systemic issues in UK athletics that need to be urgently addressed. They did a report that showed that over the last 10 years, there have been more than 200 British male coaches in the Olympic athletics program, 0 female coaches. There were also heavy allegations of a deep sexual abuse case going back to late 2016, early 2017, that was covered up by UK Athletics. Joe Coates, previous CEO, left and resigned as a result of this safeguarding issue. There's a lot going on. It's wild. So with all that being said, if you've made it this far in this video, you're probably thinking, Christ, how does this affect the athletes that are representing Team GB at the moment? The main way is with the exposure. During this time, a lot of talent has risen to the fore. I can think of some right now. Dina, KJT, Laura Muir, Josh Kerr, Zarnell Hughes. It doesn't end there either. Keely Hodgkinson, Lavier Nielsen, Reese Prescott. These guys are great athletes, but unfortunately, they don't get the exposure they deserve. Events are being held at smaller venues, so less people can see them in person. Muller have stepped back from their sponsorship, so the commercials just haven't been as frequent as they have been in the past. Activations with Nike slow down. When the business is bad at the top, it filters down to the athletes, and they're the ones who miss out. Similarly, as fans, when events are on BBC iPlayer instead of being on BBC One, we don't see as much as we could have. Fortunately, the Nike upfront payment has helped things a little bit. Ian Beattie is the current chairman. He did a very candid interview with The Times where he said some pretty emotive stuff. We closed the financial year with cash at the bank of £6.5 million, and that was exclusively due to our ongoing relationship with Nike. They made a significant cash payment to us. We are not allowed under the accounting principles to use that in our profit and loss account. We have to spread that across the full length of the contract. However, businesses ultimately survive because they have cash. So getting that cash injection was absolutely crucial. Importantly, it gives us time to restructure the business. We as a board have confidence that the organization can continue. Jesus, the language in there. The cash injection was crucial. We have confidence the organization can continue. It was really ropey for a long time. Also, in addition to the Nike deal, the UK Athletics have announced a joint venture with the organization that puts on the London Marathon and the Great North Run. The London Marathon and the Great North Run are two very popular, massive events hosted every year in the UK, broadcasted on the BBC with a lot of attendees. Packaging those events with UK Athletics events together might, just might, make it really easy, or much easier than it is at the moment, to sell the rights to the athletics to broadcasters, sponsors, and so on. They have a mission over the next 5 or 6 years to host a series of events, the Diamond League in the UK every year, the Commonwealth Games, and the World Championships in 2029. This was announced recently, so the fruits of their labour have yet to be revealed. But, hopefully, going forward, things start to turn around. If you've been a follower of my platform for some time, you would know that I speak about sustainability in sport a lot, and UK Athletics is a perfect reason as to why. On my previous video on the Olympics, I said the following. Whilst there is government funding to athletes in the UK, it's not that much, and it's tiered. Some of our best athletes are struggling too. I can do a whole piece about UK athletics. I wasn't lying. Athletics is a truly global sport. It doesn't matter if you're 5 years old or an older person. If you see a 200-meter race, you know exactly what's going on and you know exactly who's winning and who's not. People who are good at it should be on Front Street, and hopefully these moves can enable the people in the UK who are very good at it to be shown more to the world. I'm Jordan. I've enjoyed putting this video together, but if you want to see more systemic issues at Olympic level, then click right here.